All
Hi
right.
everyone, Abdallah
Awesome.
here.
Hey, hi guys. I'm Bruno. I'm the product leader for Testkube. Here is Abdallah, the technical PM. And today we are very excited to talk with you about the features that we just released for 1.12. So what we are going to do today is just like talk about the features and do a demo. But before we go into that, for those of you that are new here, Testkube is the Kubernetes native testing framework for test execution and orchestration. We are open source, part of the the CDF, Cloudnative Foundation, and yeah, our goal is really to make tests very easy and fast and complex free in Kubernetes. So what we are doing today, we released a few developer experience improvements for Testkube that we are going to show you in just a bit. Added also trigger context for you. It's a way of you seeing what triggered your tests. We also added Git validation for your test creation, where you'll be able to see if your tests actually have the current setup. And we also released massive improvements for the UI. Also, in every release, we try to launch a new executor. As you know, Testkube integrates with any testing tool, and you just need to configure the Docker container. But just to make things easier, every release we make a pre-built container executor that you can just take it and integrate it right away with your tests. And this one we decided to go with a security focused release, and we decided to go with ZAP for your security tests. And yeah, also we are excited to announce that Testkube is now part of the CD Foundation, and with that we also released a feature around CDEvents. So these CDEvents are events that are produced when your pipeline does something. So, for example, when you build something, when you deploy something, you can generate events, and now there's CDEvents related with testing. So Testkube will be able to create events. For example, is test started, test stopped, finished, and all of that. So this is really interesting when it comes to integrations. So Testkube will be able to integrate with a lot of different tools that also listen to these events. So now over to you, Abdallah, and excited to see it. You are muted.
Awesome. Do you mind sharing my screen, Bruno?
Of course.
Cool. So I'm going to go a little bit about adding the ZAP executor that Bruno just said we added. As you know, ZAP is a security analysis tool that you can use for Testkube. And I have here like the Testkube dashboard. As you know, you can interact with Testkube using the CLI, the dashboard, or what have you. I personally like the dashboard, mainly because we made a lot of new improvements. We made it much, much faster. In fact, now when you're adding a new test, which in this case, we're going to try to add the ZAP executor test, and we're going to be choosing ZAP from the options here. There are multiple options to test ZAP. There is a full sort of test that goes through your API and tests it completely. But I'm going to do a simple test, which is reading the Open API definition and seeing if there is any sort of issues with it. Now, one of the interesting parts that we added is that if you choose to bring your test from Git, now we're validating actually the information. So you can see here that on the top right that we're validating if that's a correct link. And in this case, I want to add Testkube ZAP Git and pre-fill it. The branch should be main in this case, and we should be ready to go with Testkube. If you want to have a little more information about how to run the ZAP executor, you can have some documentation on the right side. So once I create the test, I'll show you simply enough what I have here. I have a zap.tk YAML file in my repository. These are basically the arguments that we're passing to the ZAP executor. We're using the ZAP Docker container, as you know, because in Testkube, everything is just a container at the end of the day. And we pre-built this YAML file to pass these arguments into the container itself. And finally, I have a ZAP TK API conf. In this case, it contains some of the configuration of ZAP that we want to detect in our open API, like cross-site scripting and so on and so forth. One little configuration that we need to add is actually adding the name of the arguments to the executor directly. So I'm just going to copy it here and then go to the variables part. We actually just merged here the variables and secrets. But in the arguments part, you can just see that I added the ZAP executor, the ZAP argument, sorry, and then I'm saving it. So we're ready to run it now. So let me go to the ZAP executor and then just run my test. And one of the things that you'll see actually is that on the top right section, we've just added the trigger context. So now you can actually know what triggered the test in the dashboard. Is it coming from a manual UI or from the CLI or an automated cron job? Sometimes you see some tests appearing and you don't know why they happened. Hopefully this is going to make the information much more clear. And while these events are running, I want to talk to you a little bit about also the CDEvent support. So as Bruno mentioned, CDEvents are a new sort of specification that are trying to define what are the events that you're going to receive in your continuous delivery pipeline. These are predefined events. These are a standard, and Testkube has contributed to that standard, obviously, to add the testing events. In this case, I'm going to show you here what these events look like. So we have the test case run. This is obviously right now in GitHub, sorry, because they haven't released it. It should be released in the 0.3, which is coming soon. But we're already supporting it. We're actually one of the first tools that are supporting the testing events. So in your CDEvent pipeline, you'll always receive a test case run, a test suite run, and a test output. And you can see here the predicates, which is either the test has been queued, started, or finished. And if like the test has produced an artifact, it'll just say published. I actually configured my Testkube installation to trigger these CDEvents. And I, like right now, all you need to do at the moment, I can actually just show you quickly in the docs what the CDEvent integration looks like. So if we go to the guides and then emitting standard CDEvents, you can see that all you need to do is just add the webhook URL or whatever sync you have for these events to the Helm value CDEvent target. So I just configured a quick webhook site. You can see here where I'm receiving just information that are posted by anywhere in the world. And in this case, you can see that one of the events that I received is the pass event. So the first event was obviously that the test was actually run, and the second one is that the test has passed. And if we go back to the dashboard, we can see that it actually did. So yeah, this is a little bit about the new improvements to the dashboard that we made, the ZAP executor support, the official support, at least by Testkube. You can bring whatever testing tool you can always want, and the CDEvents triggering system now. Back to you, Bruno.
All right. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty exciting. And so this is the one of many releases. We have one each month. So stay tuned for our live streams and every release that we do. We try to make it really focus on making the lives of testers and developers easier and auto testing in Kubernetes. And that's always our goal. So for the next release that will come next month, we are going to add test parallelization. So right now you can run tests in parallel in Testkube, but it's not inside the test suite. And we have this concept of test suites, which allows you to group different tests, and then it will be really, really easier to basically parallelize them. So that's like the major improvement coming up. And we have hooks for executors, and also on the UI we are putting a lot of effort on the UI to make all the operations that are possible. We have we have different users, so we have people that really want to go more into the YAML directly, edit YAMLs and do kubectl apply. We have people that are more CLI, and we have other users that really like the UI and don't want to leave it. And we want really to allow all these different types of users to interact well with Testkube. And so we are going to allow all of the functions to be possible from the UI perspective. And so right now there's some features that you can only do it if you edit the YAMLs. With that goal, we are going to allow you to edit YAMLs on the UI and also add all more features there. So you can have a really complete experience from the UI perspective. And yeah, I think that's it. Those are the major things coming up. Feel free to check us out if you haven't already been using Testkube. Again, we are on Discord. You can, if you have any issues with Testkube, like getting onboarded or to install it, or any questions whatsoever, feel free to go there and drop us a question. Follow us on Twitter, and yeah, thank you for joining. And
I would just add that check Testkube on GitHub as well and give us a star. We're again open source, and so happy to receive all the support needed.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.